it was a tough sell in the beginning to get people onto this product. Try something new. No, people don't like change. Nobody likes change. I hate change. Change is horrible. I don't want anything to change, but things have to change. Otherwise, if you don't change, you're going to die. Your business will die.
Welcome to Mission Possible, delivering greener fuel today. Recorded live at the Southern New England Energy Conference in Newport, Rhode Island. Brought to you by CEMA.
It's our 75th anniversary this year.
Celebrating 75 years of service and leadership. So welcome to the latest edition of Mission Possible. And again, we are here for year 2, at least for me, in Newport, Rhode Island. I love this state, love this place. But we're here talking about how our industry has evolved. CEMA, Connecticut Energy Marketers Association, celebrating its 75th year anniversary. So what a perfect time to talk about how our industry has evolved. And it's exciting to be here. It's exciting to hear more from our members. And our latest member here is Mr. Steven Sack with Sack Energy, West Hartford. But your umbrella is even bigger than that, Steve. So let me have you take it from there. Tell us a little bit about your company.
So my name is Steven Sack, and I own Sack Energy. I am a 5th generation family member in the heating industry as a wholesaler now. The big changes really started, I would say, with my grandfather delivering coal, and then in the 20s buying an oil terminal and delivering heating oil and kerosene back then. And with my father, it transitioned from a high sulfur heating oil to an ultra low sulfur heating oil. And then with my generation here, we are now changing it over to a biodiesel blended heating oil and making our product much more environmentally friendly.
So Steve, were you guys wholesalers right from the get, or is that something that you started off as a retailer and you grew into that? How did that transition work?
So from my understanding of the history was my grandfather in the 50s sold off the retail heating oil business and went strictly wholesale sometime in the 50s.
Okay, so in when you made that change, are you aware of exactly, was it a strategic plan? Was it just there seemed to be more opportunity? Because today, right, you don't retail at all today. You are just because we do have
wholesale and commercial.
Okay,
no residential.
Yeah, because we do have other wholesalers who still are in the retail side, and they also wholesale. So you are now exclusively doing that.
Yes.
When I met your father 25 years ago, when I came here, he was actually one of my first mentors, and he kind of broke me into what a wholesaler actually does. He taught me what a wholesale oil operation looked like. But the other thing is that I have heard from your customers many times over the years that you're more of a support than that. You're not just selling them fuel.
Yes.
How does it work?
As a family-owned business here in the petroleum industry for a long time, I am not just selling a product, take my oil, and go. We're here to support our customer base in any way, shape, or form that they need, with advice on an employee, on a truck, on buying oil for the winter. Our job is to be a full-service wholesaler, to advise them to make the right decisions for their business, whether it be another oil truck, whether it's something to do with storage tanks, biodiesel blending. Our job is to make our customers as successful as possible. If our customers aren't successful, then we don't survive. And so it is a group effort.
I think that approach is something that I know today. Clay Bassett gave an industry look back, and he thanked your father in his remarks. And what I gathered from that is that Clay felt like you were partners, not necessarily just a transactional commercial relationship, but you were actually partners.
So one of the things I like to do with our business is not just sell you oil and go about my business. Our customers, a lot of our customers are full service heating oil companies. So they help their customers and advise them to put a new boiler in, a new hot water tank, whatever may be in the energy sector or whatever their business, plumbing, HVAC, they're the expert, and their customers look to them for advice of what to do and how to have their system work the best. And so they're very busy doing that. So it's my job to help them with the wholesale of the buying of the oil side, some bigger business decisions, industry things that are going on, to let them keep them abreast of what's going on, either in government affairs, in the state level, federal level, new products, teach them about the biodiesel, this new product coming on, and giving them as much support as they need to understand and use this product for their customers. You know, what's nice about me, our business is we're a family business, multi-generational. The majority of my customers are in the same boat, either dealing with mom and dad, dealing with their children. Most of my customers are family-owned businesses too, so we face the same problems that we have of a business itself with a family. And so I'm able to give a different perspective, not being a big corporation, but being a family business that can help them.
One of those challenges that I'm dealing with more now that I'm in my 25th year with the association is generational transition, especially when you're beyond the third and fourth generation. It starts to get a little bit more complex. Is there a new SAC generation coming up? Because I made a couple of trips to Washington, D.C. and met a few of the young SACs. Can you tell me a little bit about your kids and their role in the business? I know they're still young.
So to be determined, because yes, they are young. My oldest is 20, the junior in college. Then my next one is my daughter, who's taking a gap year from college right now from the University of Rhode Island. She'll start next year as a freshman. 2 more in high school. So what we'll see is definitely the business is a lot different than when I got into it. When I got into it, it was very much, I buy the product, I mark it up, I sell it, and that was about the extent of it. Now, look, as generations change, I'm going to support my kids, whatever they want to do. If they want to come in, they have a place to come. If they don't, and they want to find their own path, then they are more than happy to do that too, and I will support them.
It goes back to what Steve was saying about there's a future. You're worried, is there going to be a future for your son to take over? And let's go there, or daughter.
Definitely 10 years ago, when we were getting our butts kicked from natural gas expansion in Connecticut, especially I live in West Hartford. West Hartford was a real big hotbed for conversions. And so it was tough. And okay, how are we going to combat this? And it was really tough, but we'll just keep going at it. And then as biodiesel started to become more sophisticated and more common, and with NORA putting it together and showing that this product can work and will reduce our emissions, all of a sudden, look, there's a life, a life vest thrown out to us. Like, if you take this product, and that may not be the product that's going to be in 10 years, it could be something better as science gets more into it. But there is a life for us with the biofuels that we now can compete in greenhouse gas emissions that 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, never really was on our radar. Like, what are we going to do? We would go and to the legislative body and kick and scream, but we had no solutions for them. And it's really very strange to me these days that Chris has built up a wonderful team at CEMA that we're feared in the legislative office building as being a powerhouse, because we've got a great team in there talking to our lawmakers. We have products that can accomplish what they want, so their hands are forced to look at us seriously as a solution to the problem.
Well, and Steve, I've spoken with you many times. I may have missed some of this conversation, but I do think it's important to hammer home again that you were one of the first in the region to start bringing biodiesel into the equation, a renewable form of fuel made from, various sources that's now mixed with ultra low sodium, right? You pretty much remove the sulfur. So you were one of the first to do this. Tell me a little bit about that, because how many people do you serve? Like, how many people do you deliver? Like, you have a massive impact is what I'm saying.
We cover the whole state of Connecticut. We probably have the largest infrastructure of wholesale facilities in Connecticut. Rhode Island and Massachusetts we wholesale out of. I decided not to take the company to go south through New York and New Jersey. I figured I want to stay Connecticut and north. And it's worked out well for us. But yeah, it is definitely, it was a tough sale in the beginning to get people onto this product. Try something new. No, people don't like change. Nobody likes change. I hate change. Change is horrible. I don't want anything to change, but things have to change. Otherwise, if you don't change, you're going to die. Your business will die.
Right. Like, how many people are still using a typewriter, right? Like, personally, I went to college with one and I loved it.
Yes.
But no one's building them. I mean, you have to change with the times or you're going to be stuck in the past.
Yes.
And that is something that you have said many times over. Specifically, and then I'm going to let Chris do the deeper dive here, but from more of a generic standpoint, I love hearing the stories about biodiesel and how you have some customers who are using 100% biodiesel.
We have several large industrial users that run 100% biodiesel. They have facilities that can handle the B99 in the wintertime without freezing. It's in a heated tank inside the buildings. So they're a particular type of user that could use it versus a homeowner. Now, one of the things we're seeing is these are some old industrial buildings that are still out there. They were originally 6-oil using facilities, big dirty users. Then they changed to 2-oil, and now they can run 100% biodiesel. And it's interesting that one of our customers was an engineer. They maintain the boiler themselves. So every year with heating oil, they would take the cover off, clean every tube out, shut the plant down, which was fine in the summertime because they're not using it, but they'd have to open it up, and there's 200 tubes that are 30 feet long, scrub each one out and clean it out, and we do all kinds of weeks of work. Now they do this every 6 years, running pure bio. And when they do every 5 or 6 years of cleaning, the cleaning takes a tenth of amount of time. It's a white powdery substance.
It's remarkable. I mean, when we talk about the cleanliness, often biodiesel is referred to as a clean fuel because of its emissions factors, but there is a maintenance side cleanliness that we don't concentrate on as much. And I think that your commercial customer that I visited to see what this looked like in action is a great example of how a business can become more efficient, reduce costs by using an ultra clean biodiesel.
Many retailers will tell you that they're having a lot less callbacks or plug filters calls because the bio is now keeping everything as clean as possible. And so they're almost thinking about going, instead of cleaning every year, to every other year in a residential house.
Many members who do full service are saying that the using ultra low sulfur heating oil blended with biodiesel at 5, 10, 20% is no longer requiring a cleaning. We used to call them cleanings. Now we call them annual efficiency checkups. We want to make sure that the equipment is operating in the safest manner possible at the highest efficiency to return value to the customer. And that is a direct result, right, of blending these two great products.
Yes.
Yeah. So on the residential side, you mentioned some of the challenges of going to a B100, a 100% fuel that is come from plant oils and animal fats. We've always had issues with our fuels over the years when we've had to take action and evolve and change. And right now, as you know, is the recently outgoing chairman of the board, that we are using B100 at our school to heat the building. And that is a research and development project that we're doing with NORA, where the tank is as a heater. And we've had, our trials and errors, but last year we did the building with B100. So any obstacles that we have, there will be solutions, but we're still working on them.
And that's what the purpose of the school is, we know what the obstacles are going to be, and trial and error in a controlled environment, we can find the solutions so that we can then deploy that out in field on the residential side.
I know you're really excited about clean fuels and being a leader in the space, but I want to talk about something. We've been able to travel to Washington, D.C. together from an advocacy standpoint, and one of the things that I've enjoyed your leadership on at the association is a couple of the trips that we took to Washington, D.C. with your kids, where they were actually able to talk directly with members of our congressional delegation. can you talk about the advocacy side, what we're doing, whether it's with state legislators or at the congressional, federal level? Can you talk about the things that you've done on behalf of the entire industry, not just for SAC Energy, but for every?
Yes, for all of us. So there's two different sides. There's the state and the federal side. Through the years, a lot of the hard fighting that we're doing has gone from federal more to state level. So federal is still very important on much smaller scope of things. When you renewable biodiesel credit, getting that re-signed up, and some other national things are spread out. But our fight's been, really toe-to-toe on the state level these days.
How many bills have I asked you to testify on? You can't count that high.
I can't count that, but I'm more than happy to. Definitely scary when I first started doing it, and the more I'm doing it, the more I'm getting used to it, getting more comfortable with it. And because of that hanging out there, I have then become friends with a few of the legislative people, and that it's really helped out our organization have some strength at the Capitol.
It absolutely has, and it's helped the industry. I would say this, I was talking about your children, and recently you were testifying on a bill. I think it was sometime after 10 o'clock at night, maybe closer to 11, and your daughter showed up with her friend, and I think that family approach endears you to legislators when you've been in Hartford. It's not just about you. Your children are there with you. They're there when we met with Joe Courtney they in Washington, D.C. So I think that making it a family affair kind of, it brings home the reality of who we are. We are not this baseless utility. We are real people who've lived in local communities for generations. And so, the work that you've done there has been immensely important in terms of us being able to tell a story that could actually change policy. And I think we're seeing that.
Yeah. And for me, I was maybe looking at it a different way. That I want my kids to see, what am I doing? Why am I not home? Why am I not home at 6 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock at night? When all their other friends, dads are home at 4:35. No, I may not get home till midnight, and come see what I'm doing so they can get an idea of it. And when are my kids going to get a chance to be able to go on the Capitol, Washington, D.C. and meet their local representatives is something special for them. Not every kid gets to do that. So I think that's just a great learning experience for them to see what that's about. I won't forget when I was a little kid, my dad took me to the White House. We had connections back then, with Charlie Eisenberg, get us in there. Meeting these people, didn't quite understand it as a kid, but now I do. And so I like my kids to see where his dad gone all the time because he's never home. And that it's good learning experience for them too.
What advice would you give to CEMA members about being involved in the process of how a bill becomes a law, whether it's something we're advocating for or something that we want to oppose? What would you say to the 600 heating oil retailers in Connecticut about the importance of being involved in the legislative process? In creating a relationship with
you have to be involved if you want to survive. Otherwise, somebody else is there. Somebody else is there trying to put you out of business, and you need to be able to get friendly with them and tell them your story and let them understand and see both sides of it. Sometimes people may not be always truthful with the representative, and the representative isn't in our business. They don't know, so they only know from what we tell them. If we don't tell them what's going on, they won't know. They're only going to hear one side of it. And, I have learned so much from you, Chris, of how to lobby, that I'm involved in the Clean Energy Commission in my own town in West Hartford. And they brought a proposal together to ban gas-powered leaf blowers. And I knew it was going to start with leaf blowers and work its way up to everything. And from what I've watched Chris do, ask him some questions of how to lobby. And I reached out to all my connections in town and had some massive amount of letters going to our town people not to do this. And at the meeting was shocking to me that they didn't know it was me, but they accused somebody of hiring a very high-powered lobbying outfit to squash this.
And it was you?
And it was just me. reaching out to the citizens in town saying, we don't want a ban.
Well, it's interesting you should say that because I live in West Hartford as well. We have that shared commonality, for better, for worse, right? But I didn't know about the effort to do this in West Hartford. Next time I will help you, but for the record, I did not. We only heard about Fairfield County.
My friend owns the power equipment store, told him about it. He told his customers. I reached out
Grassroots,
to every
yes.
person I know. They were like, no way, no way, no way. I called every country club in town. They called and complained about this. And, you know, the response was, I can't believe that they hired such a high-powered lobbying firm to stop this.
Being active and giving your opinion and fighting a cause works. We do it every year at the state capitol where someone's trying to put us out of business. So yes, we can be a well-oiled machine, but we also know that reaching out and calling someone does make a difference. And people get skeptical, right? Like, no one's going to listen to me, but they do. So good for you. Thank you.
One of the things that I didn't want to entirely leave the part about testifying and being involved in the grassroots involvement that's necessary by the members to dispel the concerns that every member I've ever asked to testify on a bill, they're like, I'm going to get embarrassed. I'm going to get bullied. I'm going to get pushed around by legislators. Steve, in your experience, have you ever experienced that at a hearing where you felt like that you're the subject matter area expert? You know more than every legislator in the circle when you're testifying. You know, have you ever felt like they outmaneuvered you?
Never. They, even if they disagree with us and they're on a different side of the aisle or on the position, if they're an environmentalist who wants full electrification, they may say, refute something that we say, but they'll never come after us because we're not professionals. We're not professional lobbyists. They may come after you, Chris, because you hold that badge, but I am going as just a citizen. And also, in my business, I feel like I'm also trying to represent my customer base. They may be small dealers. They don't have the time to take a whole day out or all night. They're out in the field. So I also feel it's kind of, you're buying from me and supporting me. I'm supporting you by going to testify for you and sit all day at the Capitol if I need to.
Well, I would say in the 75-year history of the association, one of the things that I think we can take the most pride in, whether it was Charlie Eisenberg, who was there from day one, Dave Aslan, who came after him, Gene Guilford, and now me, is that we've all relied on people like you and our members to be able to Hartford. So I hope that one of the things that people who watch this take away is that don't be intimidated. You know more than anyone else in the room when we're talking about energy. And your involvement is what changes outcomes. And if you decide not to be involved and not bring that expertise to Hartford and potentially Washington, D.C., that's when we get beat. It's when we don't step up, and you have consistently done that.
And if you're never testified, never done it, go there with Chris one day when they're testifying and just watch. And then you'll get a feel and see what it's like. And that it's intimidating sitting in that chair with all the lights and the cameras on you. You'll get used to it. But I've never been verbally attacked in any way, shape, or form from a legislator.
They're respectful. These
Very respectful.
These are legislators who need people to vote for them. And I think that we disagree at times, but it is respectful. So I'm glad that we had the opportunity in this conversation to dispel any concerns that members have saying, I really don't want to go there because I'm going to not look good or I'm going to look bad.
The only time I've seen them be rough and rude with somebody testifying is somebody who is starting off the bat attacking them. And so your job is to explain your position, but speak to them with respect. When you don't speak with them in respect, in this respectful way, they may come after you a little bit. But every time I've ever seen it, it was deserved by that person.
And I never see one of our members act that way. So we've always been treated the way that we treat them. And the best policies come out when we can be in a dialogue, even if we start off in a place where we disagree. And so the expertise you've brought to the table has changed outcomes. The relationships you've built in Hartford with legislators have helped change outcomes. And in our 75 years, that's the way that CEMA is most effective. So thank you for doing that.
No, you're welcome.
Happy anniversary. Here's to another 75.
There we go.
All right.
I don't think either of us are going to be here.
You never know. All right.
And thank you for listening to Mission Possible. Be sure to tune in next time to hear more stories on how our members are making a difference. We'll see you then.